is that time to get started. We'll give our latecomers hanging out in the halls of not any time at all to get in, because we're going to start right now. It's good to see you all here. Thank you. This has been such a great series. It's been fantastic. We have been, I think we are tonight. I see the camera on right there. Yeah, we are recording these. If you want to go back and review some of the information we've had from previous sessions, and certainly you can go back and review the information tonight as well. Also point people to that resource that will show up on our Facebook page, as well as you go to YouTube, you can type in Ellendale Baptist Church, it'll show up there as well. But I'm really glad that you're here in person. So excited to have Jason Taylor with us from the 9th grade academy. And he's going to be talking to us about issues facing high schoolers. We have a great number of high schoolers here at Ellendale Baptist Church. Many of us have high schoolers in our lives, whether our children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews. And that's important for us. High schoolers, they're the closest thing to the next generation of adults. They're going to be adults very soon. We need to know what they're facing, because that's going to be issues facing adults before too long. So, Jason, thank you for being with us. Let's open with a word of prayer, and we'll hand it over to Jason. Father God, thank you for this time that we could be here together. Thank you for your love and your grace. Thank you for knowledgeable people, a great community like Bartlett, where we can come together and we can learn together, we can grow together, we can figure out how we can be the best citizens of this city that we can be. And Lord, help us as a church to learn how we can be there for the high schoolers in our midst, in our circle. Lord, we love you. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Jason, come on, bro.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Jason Taylor. I'm assistant principal at the Bartlett 9th grade academy. We have about 730 freshmen this year, I believe, plus or minus 5 or 10, somewhere around in there. I've been in education this is my 20th year, teaching, coaching, and administration here in Tennessee and in Florida. I really am glad that your church is taking the initiative to try to get to know what life is like for teenagers and high school students nowadays compared to even kids that I taught when I first started teaching. Kids that I taught 10 years ago. You have to think the iPhone 11 just now came out, so the iPhone started 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But before that, when I first started in education, everybody was getting their cell phones. You know, all you could do was text. It took forever to send a text. But then they developed pictures. Then they developed video. Now, you know, we have 5th grade. Like my 6th grade son has never lived life without some kind of technological device in his hand. And our high schoolers, most of them from the time they can remember, have had some kind of tech device, you know, whether it be an iPad, an iWatch, their phone, computer, you know, something like that. So life for them is way different from when I went to school, and even when my mother went to school, and even when my grandmother went to school. I mean, it used to be not as fast of an increase, I guess you could say. Times didn't change as quickly from, say, one graduating class to a class that's 10 years after them, okay? But now we're seeing technology change each year, and our freshmen that we have this year are going to be so much more advanced technologically wise compared to the first graduating class we had, I think it was 2 years ago. I'm looking at some of the people that I've teach with or taught with or know from the community. So they are facing, y'all, it's a great time to be a young person, but they are facing some very scary things that we didn't have to deal with. I brought some PowerPoint slides. I'm not going to show them, but I'm going to read a couple things to you just to give you an idea of what they deal with, and then I'll talk about that, what I've seen, okay? I will answer any question you have as a person that has done my job. I cannot answer it as a BCS employee or in that capacity. If you have a situation that you want to ask about, I may or may not be able to comment on it, okay? So please take that into mind when we start asking questions. But the more questions you can ask me, the better this is going to be and the more informative it's going to be for you, okay? There's a couple articles. Technology has changed or amplified the struggles young people face. Here's top 10 reasons. The common teenage problems that teenagers face today are usually related to self-esteem and body image, stress, bullying, depression, cyber addiction, drinking, smoking, teenage pregnancy, underage sex, defiant behaviors, and peer pressure. Now, I know that all of us, no matter when we went through school, we dealt with peer pressure, okay? That's been around forever. That's even, through biblical stories that you read, okay? And I understand that stress comes, but I never thought about being under stress when I was in school. I just really didn't. Now, I may have had things happen in my family life that put me in stress, but actual school and going to a place where we did math and reading and writing and PE and had fun, I just didn't see that as stress. Then you have of course, we didn't have to deal with, because even when I was in school, we barely had Commodore 64s, if anybody remember those, but we didn't have cyber addiction. We didn't have cyber bullying. We didn't have sexting. And I know that sounds kind of weird saying that word in church, but that's what it is. These kids are having to deal with things and they're being approached by people about situations and things that they should not be aware of yet. And they're already aware of them starting in elementary school, middle school. It's alarming, okay? Then along with pregnancy and underage sex and drinking and smoking, those are problems that people have always dealt with. And I understand that we've all dealt with those, even when, I don't care when you went to school. However, these things are way more out there in the open now, okay? Let me read another list. This is another company that did the same thing. They pretty much had the same top 10 list, but they had a few different single-parent households. Those are more common than ever now. Growing up too fast. This comes with the technology age. Everything is instant gratification. Kids don't know how to wait any longer. They take a test first period. They finish that test at 7:50. By 7:55, they want to know what they made. It's not online. Why hadn't you put it in the grade book in Power School yet? Why is it not up there? Everything is instant gratification now. Violence in school. This one's kind of tricky because everybody that's gone to school, they know of people that fought or got in fights in their school, okay? And a lot of the same things that happened 300 years ago in education, whatever that setting was, are happening now, but the media blows it up, okay? A fight that happened between two people 10 years ago stayed at that school, and maybe 10 people knew about the fight that two people had, whereas nowadays, if there's two people that fight, there are people in Middle and East Tennessee that know about a fight that happened at our school sometimes before we know about the fight that happened at our school. And that's what's scary, because we have cameras, okay? We live in a day, Big Brother, I guess you could say. We have those in place to protect kids and stuff like that, but they know where blind spots are, okay? Bathrooms, certain hallways, stuff like that, okay? And we will often get information. This has happened when I was in Florida. It happens here. It happens all over the place where parents are calling, why hadn't you done something about this? What are you talking about? Well, I saw on social media. Well, I can't sit at my desk and just read social media all day. I'm dealing with educational problems going on in class. As soon as we're made aware of them, then we deal with them. But y'all have to understand that these kids today know how to get everything out there as quick as they can get it out there. There is no pause. What's the ramifications of this? Should I put this out there? Is this appropriate to put out there? Am I going to get in trouble for putting it out there? All they do is they go, oh man, look at this video, send, boom. They send it to 5 friends, they send it to 50, they send it to 100, and then next thing you know, we're getting phone calls from principals of schools that we know in, Jackson. Hey man, this happened at about 9 o'clock at your school. Yeah, we're on top of it, but I'm glad that it's spreading so quick. I mean, it's scary, okay? And that is a big, that's a big thing that kids have to deal with. All of these issues that we dealt with, nothing's private anymore. Nothing happens anymore in a school that is self-contained, I guess you could say, within that school. Kids have the access, they have the technology, they have the know-how to use it, and it just gets, it is spread like wildfire. And that can be great with certain educational topics we're wanting to cover, but it's a detriment to them also. You think about a kid that is getting bullied. Somebody gets bullied. Well, back in my day, somebody got bullied, the 3 people that bullied him knew about it, and maybe 2 or 3 other people. Well, now the kid gets bullied, somebody's videoing it, the 6 people knew about it, then they send it to 10 of their friends, and then boom, by 3rd period, everybody in the school knows that this kid got pushed up against the locker, made fun of, talked trash about, and started crying. And that can happen within an hour. They have to deal with that. We didn't have to deal with things like that. Drugs, how to use drugs, where to get drugs, how to hide drugs, how to use drugs. I didn't have access to that stuff online by the push of a button. Kids can push a button, Google, and find anything now. They can find the fake kind of weed. They can find how to hide jewels. They can find how to hide pills, what kind of pills they can take from medicine cabinets that'll do this. What kind of stuff can they buy over the counter that will give them the same effect of heroin if they take enough of anti-stomach nausea medicine. It's really an anti-diarrheal medicine. But if they overdose on it, take enough of it, it'll give them a rush of a heroin. Okay, they can find things. And these are problems that we just didn't have to deal with, and it's up to us to grow with them and to learn how to deal with them, okay? The best thing you can do, and I'm pulling up articles and stuff like that. I'm new at this, if you can't tell. I don't speak in front of a lot of adults that are my age or more. I'm usually speaking to athletes that I've coached or something like that. So you'll have to bear with me if I ramble a little bit. But talk to your teens, talk to your nieces, your nephews, neighborhood kids that trust you, kids in your youth department. You're still the biggest influence. We can only do so much as a school. We can try to give them the advice. We can try to give them things to do to help, to cope, avenues to deal with things. But kids that trust y'all, when you build a trust with them, Tough love is what I believe in. I'm not a love 'em and hug 'em guy. I am a pretty much the enforcer of the rule type guy, and follow the rules. They're set there for a reason, and everything needs to come from the parents and friends and family, because I can only do so much because there's so many kids that I see. But y'all are with them on a day-to-day basis. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to their life. Ask them, what are you looking at on your phone? What are you doing on your phone? What's your Instagram look like? Let's go through some pictures. If you show interest and you check on them and you monitor, and they like that, even though they may act like you're getting in my business, you're doing this, it's okay. They're not 18. They're not adults. You need to be in their business. You need to be looking at what they're looking at. You need to be monitoring what texts they're getting, how many texts they're getting, what time of night are they getting texts, what time of night and day are they getting on the computer, where are they going, what are they doing. If you don't give them the information about sex, drugs, depression, you would be, I know we all know people that have been depressed, and there were people that were depressed when I was in high school, but it wasn't as prevalent. Okay, we have kids, I can guarantee you we have at least 2 or 3 kids come in a day talking about depression. It's scary. You're 14, you're 15. You should not be depressed. Okay, this should be a place at least for 8 hours where you can come, be stress-free, learn, have fun, and let your worries go. They carry the weight of the world on them, y'all. We have kids that miss school because, why'd you miss school? I was babysitting my 3-year-old and my 7-year-old brother. So that's why you didn't come to school? Yeah. Mom had to go to work. They were sick. I had to stay home with them. Really? They're dealing with things. It's scary. It really is scary. And if you don't talk to them and they need to know more than ever that you care. They need to know that you love them no matter what they do, how they mess up, because every time they mess up is exonified by 5,000 times compared to what it was when we messed up. And that's scary. I thank the Lord all the time that we didn't have cell phones and videos and all that kind of stuff when I was in high school and college and even young adult life. I really do. And these kids, you got to think, what would it have been like for you to be 14, 15 years old, 16, 17 years old, and constantly have a video camera following you around? Mic'd up, on film, with the first time you messed up, somebody ready to post it and send it to every social media outlet that is out there. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, everything you can think of or heard of, it's going to be posted the first time you mess up. What kind of pressure would you be under? It's tough. I mean, it's really tough on these kids. That's why more than ever, we try to stress to them. We try to tell them, look, in today's time, everything you do is being watched by somebody. I know that's sad to say, but that is the truth. Everything is being watched, okay? That's a lot of the differences from when I went to school, you went to school, stuff like that. Are there any comments or questions? Or this is going to go a whole lot better if y'all ask me. I'm used to that way more than I am sitting up here talking, I can promise you.
Is there a way that you control cell phones? I mean, do they just have
Parental controls?
no kids coming to school?
Kids coming to school. Bartlett School's policy is cell phones are not supposed to be out. Now, there are exceptions to that. Every school's policy, you'll see if you look in California. Okay, California has the biggest high school in California where they have developed a magnetic box that the kids come in and they put their cell phone in. It locks them down, okay? They have to turn it in when they walk in the school building. Now, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars being spent for that one school to monitor their cell phone use, okay? We're not talking $100,000 for a box. We're talking about a high school that's probably triple the size of Bartlett, which we're roughly at 2,900, okay? And we're the second biggest high school in Tennessee. It's expensive, okay? Kids are going, if we dealt with the cell phone issue all day long, if Collierville dealt with it, if Arlington dealt with it, if Murfreesboro, Oakland, Riverdale, all of those schools, if we tried to stop them from using what they use every day and have grown up with, we would spend 90% of our time doing that instead of educational process, okay? Teachers can use that as a tool. We have to teach them how to use them responsibly. You, not you if you don't have a kid, but adults in their lives, they have to teach them how to use them responsibly, okay? Because it's something you're going to have forever. I don't know anybody that works in a job nowadays that does not have a cell phone and is not on it during their working hours. Construction workers use it all day long. I have a friend that is a regional manager of a roofing company right here in Bartlett. He has 2 different cell phones, one for workers and one for his office. He's on them all day. We go hunting, he's on a cell phone texting with somebody while we're hunting. Gets on my nerves, drives me crazy. But that's the way it is nowadays. Everybody wants to be able to be in touch with somebody 24/7, and they want the instant, it can't, I'll talk to you on Monday. I'll get back with you next week when I get it. They send you a text, they want to answer. So we have to teach them how to use it responsibly. The adults in their lives also have to teach them how to use it responsibly.
I teach at Southwest. When they come to my classes, they turn their cell phones off. No electronic devices at all in any classes, any of my classes. Mm-hmm. You know, and I have to remind them some too. But it's best for the class and for them to know the curriculum and what's going on in the class if they're not there sitting looking at their cell phone. And another question, why do kids 3 years old have to have a cell phone?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Why do kids 3 years old have to have a cell phone?
Whatever their parent decides they have to have is what they can give them.
It's really not too smart because you're letting them program themselves.
Right, well, you know, and that goes, I'm not used to holding a microphone. I've coached so I can speak loud enough, but the recordings, they want me on a microphone. We can't tell parents what they can and can't do. I can't tell them how to parent. What I believe in and what I do as a parent may be totally different from what a lot of parents in my school do. Now, also, you have to think some kids, even though, like say your school district's a 1-to-1, whether, I don't care if you're Arlington, Oakland, Tennessee, they're 1-to-1. Some parents do not want their kids to have a laptop. They will not pay the insurance. Okay, they don't want them to be a day user. They don't want them to have any type of technology, but they'll give them a phone. Craziest thing on the man. But that kid can use that phone then in class to do educational things, do reports, find research on that phone. There are positives to it, okay? But like I said, if you don't teach people if you don't teach a kid how to be a responsible driver, they're going to jump in, they ain't even going to put their seatbelt on, they're going to put it in D, they're going to hit the gas, and they're going to roll. You have to teach them how to drive. You have to teach them how to walk. You have to teach them how to do everything else. We take for granted that we don't have to teach them how to use cell phones properly, how to use technology properly, okay? a lot of people will use technology as a babysitter. I understand that, okay? But that's out of my realm. That's out of a school's realm. We can't get into that. We can only deal with what we have to deal with. And so we try to teach them how to use it responsibly, but we know that we just can't take a device out of their hand that they're going to use every day for the rest of their life, that they have used for every day of their life. It's hard for us to grasp that concept. It's hard for me to grasp that concept. But my son, and I have a middle schooler, and I taught a bunch of high schoolers, people around this area, that I never seen him write with paper and pencil. He writes on my iPad with the pen. He types, he circles. He does his math on the iPad with a pen. He doesn't need paper and pencil. You know, my wife, we had to go out and buy pencils because we don't have them laying around the house anymore like everybody used to. When he colors a picture, his big thing now, and we have some art, so we have a 9th grader last year, y'all, that I'm telling you, this kid is he got put up for awards. I can't think of his name, I couldn't say it anyway. But he did a documentary for us, for Apple. He filmed the entire book as a freshman, and we got approved. The 9th grade academy this year is an Apple Distinguished School, which is there are schools all across the country. They're flying in from California on Wednesday to give us a distinction and take photos and come tour our school from California, their Apple headquarters. This freshman put together the entire book. We gave him the content, he did the filming, the editing, everything. It's crazy how good these kids are with it. We have to control how they use it, teach them responsible ways to use it, and then, monitor. Yes, ma'am.
With that being said, about how kids are with using, always having a phone and everything, can you see the difference in how they are with teachers, with their teachers? Do you see a difference there? Because you're thinking there's not a lot of social going on. Do you see?
There are no more front porch conversations happening in neighborhoods. There's not very many dinner conversations happening at home. Unfortunately, if you look at statistics, one of them on here says that 32% of the students that are in education right now are at single household parents. Okay? I can't expect a mother or a father that's raising a kid or 2 or 3 that's working 8 to 10 hours a day, if not 2 jobs to support them, to sit down and have a home-cooked meal where she's sitting and talking with her kids for an hour every night. Yeah, of course, that would be great if she could. But realistically, can she do that? No way. So there's loss of communication in the family. There's also loss of communication with how kids communicate with each other. I could probably, and Coach Patterson could attest to this, I guarantee you we could walk in her PE class, not hers, any class across the state of Tennessee with freshmen, look at 30 kids and say, okay, divide up, pick teams, make rules, and play a game of kickball. Set up the field, do it all. Ready? Go. Coach, I guarantee you maybe if we did it across 100 schools across the state of Tennessee, maybe one school out of that entire thing would be able to do that. And it would probably be more of your rural school systems where technology is not as fast, I guess you could say, where internet's not as widely available. It's scary. Kids don't know how to walk up and ask a girl out on a date. I mean, I know that sounds goofy, But for them to go up and talk to a girl and have the confidence to be able just to strike up a conversation besides texting something, you know, HYD, how you doing? You know, without them using that, that is how they communicate. And their social skills are so lacking with each other, they're lacking with adults. We're talking about respect and stuff, and how do you approach an adult? Or how do you look at a teacher and say, you know, I'm having problems with this. If this lady right here was my teacher and I'm a kid, you know, I would always just go, I don't understand how to do problem 15. These kids, all they can think of is, I'm not doing 15, I can't do it, it's too hard. And then boom, they're done. It's hard for them to express themselves because they don't have to do it on a daily basis like we always did. You know, how was your day? Great. What'd you do in school today? Nothing. I had 5 tests and worked on 2 projects, 3 videos, and read 8 articles for English and had to write an essay about it. But when you ask them, what'd you do today? Nothing. They don't know how to communicate. That's a lost art. I say back porch because that's what my mama says. You know, you don't sit on the porch and talk anymore. Nobody does. They can't have a conversation. And they don't know how. They don't get that anymore. Like I said, you know, my son, when instead of walking next door or 2 houses down and asking his buddy, hey, come out and play, he'll send him a text, hey, you home? Well, he'll wait on it. Or are you going to go see if he's home? No, he'll text me back in a minute. Man, get up and walk outside and go see if he's home. That's just not, that doesn't ring a bell to them. It's just, why? He's going to text me and tell me if he's home or not. Or he'll IM me, or he'll get on Xbox and send me some kind of message or something like that. So, yeah, the art of talking, it's the common skill of communication is very tough. And we teach it, elementary teach it, and we still have to teach it even through high school. When you go, I know Coach Patterson because I'm laughing because when we try to get them, she runs a classroom about like I do. When you came in my class, if I didn't ask you to talk, you didn't talk. And that was the bottom line because that's how I was taught when I first started teaching. As I got older, I loosened up a little bit, but not a whole lot. But anyway, nowadays, though, to get kids to have conversation in your classroom, you have to beg them. Okay, you can talk. Talk to each other about school. Let's talk about this assignment. No, don't text about it. Put your phone up. Talk to the person. Share ideas with each other. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth, especially if it's something they're not comfortable with. Math, English. Some kids like science, some kids don't. History, some kids like it, some kids don't. Health, you know, we actually go in the health room in high school. You have to do half the year in a classroom, and we do real work, and it is for real graded. And if you don't pass that class, you for real don't graduate. And it's hard to get them to understand that. We have a book in health class. I'm going to have to do projects and writing assignments and presentations. Yeah, you are. You're going to have to get up and talk to people. It's scary for them. So the more you can communicate with them, the more you can ask them, especially y'all, you're at church. You're with kids. You see kids. Make them talk to you. I don't care if it's about something that you hate. It could be about dads, it could be about dresses. Moms, it could be about I say hunting. A lot of my wife likes hunting, so she would talk to my son about it. But anything, whatever it is, let them open up to you and talk about it. Teach them how to talk. Teach them how to express their ideas in a respectful, well-articulated manner. It's a skill that's gone, y'all. I'll be honest with you. Excuse my grammar, because they can grunt. They know how to. They can grunt, and they can ask for things when they want to, or when they need them. I need $5, or I need $50. How's that? Or I need gas money. That's our biggest thing, is I need gas money. Okay, but it's something that we as adults, we take it for granted, that the ability to be able to communicate face to face, person to person. Every time a kid walks in my office, I make them look me in the eyes. It's just I don't care, male or female. When you're talking to me and you address me, you look me in the eyes. Why? Well, that lets me know that you're paying attention to me, and it lets you know that I'm paying attention to you. I don't want you looking at the ground or around or whatever. You know, it's just little things like that. You know, we can't make them say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir, and no, sir. But they can answer in complete sentences, yes, no. I'll tell them all the time, I'm not a huh, yeah, no, what? I'm a yes or a no. And I can live with that. So, I mean, it's a lot of, they deal with a lot of things and a lot of burden and a lot of pressure on them, but it's things that we can help them out if we just pay attention to and take notice of. Okay? Any other? Okay, I'll talk about the academy and give you some background of that, because obviously we're all Bartlett people, or we may not be, but since you're here at a Bartlett church. The academy was started, it was an idea that we got from actually a school in East Tennessee, and I was not happy about the academy at first, to be honest with you. It was supposed to be a 2-year plan. We were going to be at Shadlawn Middle School for 2 years. We were going to separate all the freshmen. Then we were going to find a way to incorporate them at the high school. And then when they built the new high school, which they're in the process of doing, we're going to put everybody back on the same campus. Well, lo and behold, the academy has been probably the best thing that Bartlett City Schools has done. It keeps 14 and 15-year-old kids with 14 and 15-year-old kids that are not being influenced by 17 and 18-year-old kids on a daily interactive basis, except through social media or sports or extracurricular. Okay? So that's one of the positives. We are anywhere from, every year we have been 11 to 15% below the national retention rate for freshmen across the country. I would say on average, we may have out of 720, that's usually what we've been, 7 to 720, we may have 7 to 8 failures out of that 720. We found that the kids, it's a great transition year because we're not middle school. We don't treat them like middle school. We uphold them to the high school rigor, expectations behavior-wise. And it's a year for them to grow and get kind of their feet wet and up under them before they hit that campus with 1,500 other kids. Because that can be daunting. It's tough being a 14, 15-year-old. But you show up on a campus, could you imagine being there with 2,100 other kids that are older than you and you're walking the halls with them, eating lunch with them, riding buses with them, interacting with them on a daily basis, it could be terrifying. So our school system basically has decided that we're going to keep the academy where it is and the way it is, because like I said, our numbers are through the roof. Our test scores, we're a level 5 school. That's hard to be. We've been at 2 years in a row. That means we're the best of the best for the last 2 years as far as scores across the board. Now, are there issues and problems that we deal with on a daily basis? Sure. All of them stem from the things that we talked about earlier. That's life. I mean, that's life nowadays. We have to deal with kids getting cyberbullied. Raise your hand if you don't know what cyberbullying is. Okay? Cyberbullying is, it's a federal offense now. Kids are telling, you would be amazed at the number of kids that commit suicide every year because they're being told to do it by their friends or by their peers on computers. Because it's easy to type something, especially when they don't know who it's coming from. Kill yourself. You're fat. You're ugly. You're disgusting. You'll never have a girlfriend. You'll never get a date. You're worthless. You're ignorant. Could you imagine getting email after email after email after that of that? Or an IM message that's just dinging your computer every 5 seconds with that? It's tough. It's tough. It's tough on these kids. I will say this, though. We're lucky with Bartlett City Schools being 1-to-1 for our all middle schools and high school. Everything that goes through our computers is tracked. It has to go through our filter. It doesn't matter if a student takes our computer to Kentucky or Japan. If they get online, whatever they get online and look at is filtered through our filters so it can be tracked. I can run a check on anybody's computer at any point in time and see what they've looked at, where they've been. A lot of times I'll have parents give me a call and say, hey, look, I want you to check his computer. I want to know what he's looking at. I have no problem doing that. That's my computer. It's on loan to them. And they have to realize that. And I would say 95% of our kids are pretty good with it. You're going to have your 5% that want to test the limits and want to push the boundaries, and, that's in everything. That's in life in general. So, any questions about the academy? We offer all the sports. We provide transportation to every kid at our school. Like, say the Miss Walls is having a play at the high school, we transport the kids to play practice every day. We transport every band kid to band practice every day. Every basketball, football, baseball, cheerleader, cross country, choir. Our school provides them transportation to the high school so they can participate in everything. They do not miss out on anything. They do miss out on a lot of, I'll just say it, negative influences that they're physically and mentally not prepared to handle yet. And that's why I think that the academy has been such a success. And I think you're going to see a lot of other school systems start doing it. They may not have an academy, but they will have a freshman building where it is nothing but freshmen in that building, where they don't have, the influences that could maybe get them off track at too early of an age. Anything else? It's easier if you ask questions, or if there's something I haven't covered that you'd like to know about. I can tell you that I'll be honest with you, I've been in this for 20 years. I've been coaching for 25 years. And the kids that I see do the best, I do not care, male, female, orange, yellow, black, white, red, purple, green. I could care less. One parent home, two parent home, no parent home, because we have plenty of kids that come where they're wards of the state, they're in foster care. If they can feel like they have any adult that cares about them, that gives any amount of care, whether they get it from church people that they may get brought from the home to go to sit in a church service, or a neighbor or a dad or a mom or an aunt, uncle, anybody, the kids that feel they have somebody to care about are usually the most successful. And that just makes, I mean, that is not rocket science. And there's so many kids that have nobody nowadays, and that's sad to say, but it is the truth. And like I said, I'm not a love them and hug them guy. I make them follow the rules. I make them do what's right. I am fair. And I don't think I'll ever change from that, because I have so many kids that come back to me and will say, I hated you in school. And I'm like, well, that's okay. I'm not here to be your friend, Or I can't believe you were so mean in school, but you know what? I understand it now. I understand why you made me do this, or you made me speak like this, or you made me follow these rules, or you made me do this. I didn't understand it at the time, but I appreciate it now. And, and I'm like, I have to do what I feel like is right in my heart with my God, and have to be able to look in the mirror every day. And kids need love. They need hugs. Not from me, but from family members or church members, or, people like, they do. They need that. They need to know they have somebody in their corner, because you would be amazed at the amount of kids that come to school, even in Bartlett schools, that if they don't eat breakfast and lunch at school, they don't eat. If they don't get a hug from a teacher, they don't get touched all day. If they don't get it from church members, from community members in the appropriate way, they're going to get it from somebody, and it's probably not going to be good. So, anything you can do to engage your youth, talk to them, hang out with them. They love hanging out with older people. They act like they don't, but y'all, they crave it. We have kids that we have to kick out of the office all the time. Go to class. Why are you in here? Oh, just seeing what Miss So-and-so's doing, just hanging out. They crave that interaction. They don't act like they want to be there, but I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing at 2 o'clock to get them on that bus to go home. I have to scream out the door, go home, go home. I'm ready to go home. But they act like they don't want to be. I don't want to be at school. I don't want to be here. Well, then why do I have to shoo you off the porch every day? They need it. So that's the best advice I can give. Speaking to you as somebody that's been a coach for 25 years, been in education for 20, talk to them. Let them know you care. You would be amazed at what one positive thing can do for one kid, because they may not get it the rest of the day. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. It really was. I don't walk around smiling. That's just not my personality. I'm not going to do cartwheels in the middle of the hall because I'm in a good mood. I'm going to look like this whether I'm ecstatically happy or whether I'm mad at you. It's going to pretty much be the exact same. And you can ask people that work with me. That's just me. I mean, but they, me saying something to them like, hey man, I appreciate you picking up that tray. That may be the only compliment they get all day. And that's hard for me to learn, because I didn't have to deal with that. And a lot of us probably didn't either, but some of us might have. And how long or how far that compliment can take you. So, my time is up. Thank you, Lord, for letting me get through this. I did say a little prayer before I came in. But no, if there's ever anything you have questions about, I would like to say this. All the guidance counselors at schools, if you're ever, as a parent or guardian of somebody, if you ever suspect, please call. We have avenues that are free, anonymous, free, that can get these kids the help they need. And you as a parent, we all need help. It's avenues that you can take also to help and guide, because I'm going to deal with things in 3 years from my son that I haven't seen yet, never dealt with. And I'm going to need help, even being in the game and in the middle of the school system. So please, that's what schools are for. We're all here together. We're one big community. We take care of your kids or your grandkids or your family members daily. And all the help and support that you can give our teachers and administrators and faculty in general, it is greatly appreciated, because believe it or not, this has become a very thankless profession, unfortunately. And we're dealing with your kids 8 hours a day, and 240 of those at that, because some multiply 30 kids times 6 periods, 180 kids you're seeing a day that they're spending more time with than their own kids. So any support y'all can give them, even if it's just a thank you card to the teachers, man, it goes a long way. Even if you are mad at them or disagree with what they may do, sometimes it really does go a long way. But thank you to your church for having me. Thank y'all for being here. And like I said, if there's anything you ever need, I'm at the academy. You can feel free to contact me, and I'll do what I can for you.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. And like he said, he's at the Freshman Academy. So any other questions? One more opportunity. Yeah.
That and my dog.
All right. Appreciate you guys coming out tonight. And next week, we'll be having our town hall meeting. We're going to be hosting that in conjunction with the Memphis Area Prevention Coalition. So please get the word out about that. We'll have some different speakers here, and I'll have more information about those speakers in the next couple of days, and we'll get that out on social media and through the different avenues that we have to do that. All right, let me close this in a word of prayer, and then we'll be dismissed. God, we're so thankful for this day. I thank you, Lord, for Jason being able to come tonight and share with us, God, from the perspective of a high school administrator, and just, Lord, the things that our teenagers are facing. And God, just we heard tonight just the important things that we can do as adults to encourage teenagers, Heavenly Father. And Lord, some of us in here who don't have teenagers in the home right now, God, give us an opportunity to, whether it's our students here at church, whether it's the kids we encounter at the convenience store, the grocery store, wherever it may be, God, may we just take an opportunity to just say an encouraging word to them and hopefully be a bright spot in their day. God, as we go from here now, please keep us safe and just guide us throughout the rest of this week. And may we be sensitive and see where you're leading us, Lord, and be faithful to follow you. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.